All right, so happy Wednesday, everybody. It is our first week one call for the November new coach training. So welcome to the group. My name is Megan Blinka. I will be leading today's call. Hopefully you were able to catch last week's call where Melanie did the new coach kickoff call. So that's kind of step one. And then we'll have a series of 3 calls today being the first one and 2 more throughout the month to help you set yourself up to launch your business and have success as we head into the holidays in the last few months of 2020. So do me a favor in the chat bar, let me know, are you guys all brand new, like just signed up within the last few weeks? Are you kind of using this as a refresher? Maybe you've been a coach for a while and you're just kind of trying to refamiliarize yourself on what's going on. Just kind of helps me know who I'm talking to. Otherwise, I'll just assume everybody just signed up yesterday and you're brand new. Kim, brand new, awesome, thank you. Been a coach since September, the last month. Okay, so definitely on the newer side. I know sometimes I'll see people pop in here who maybe they've been, unplugged for a while, or, they were a coach, years ago and they're jumping back in, or here you go, a discount coach. Rachel now trying to make this a business. So welcome all of you. I am excited to get things started. Like I said, my name is Megan. Those of you who don't know me, I've been a coach for 6.5 years. So I have gone through this November holiday season, hustle and bustle now. Wow, this is 7th, right? It's 6.5 years, 7th time I've gone through this. I can tell you that it is definitely has opportunities to leverage what's going on during this time of year. So it's the holidays. So we definitely have an opportunity to gear our posting, our marketing to really help people get started now versus waiting until January and the whole New Year's thing. So that's kind of one thing I want to talk to you guys about today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that I can stay on track with you guys. As I'm going through anything, if you have questions, pop them in the chat bar. I will check there periodically just to make sure everything is addressed and we don't have anything lingering. What is this? Let me close that. I will fair warning, my mother is running a marathon today and my sister is supporting her, which means in addition to my 7 and 9-year-olds, I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old all here. So 7, 9, 7, 5, and 3, and they have been warned to be quiet because I am working. So we'll see if they stay true to all of that. Oh, but here we go. What can you expect through this call today? We're going to talk about your month one goals, things you want to make sure happen by the 30th of the month. Understanding the business activity tracker, the BAT, as you'll hear referred to. Hopefully you already have this printed out. If not, I will let you know where you can find that. But that is one thing that you will hear today and over again on countless calls that you join throughout your coaching business, because it is crucial no matter how long you've been in the business. Talk about crafting your posts, inviting, the idea of sales. My husband is calling me. I'm so sorry. Hold on. Yes. I'm hosting a call. Do you need something urgent? Okay. All right. Love you. Bye. Oops. There we go. I thought I muted myself. I didn't. You heard. So that was my husband anyways. Like, I just called to say hi. Anyways, I'm sorry. I paused the share instead of muting myself. Anyways, moving on. We're going to talk about sales, and then I'm going to give you a little coffee story here at the end just to help remind you of something so crucial to our businesses. So month one. First thing, you want to enroll your first 3 customers and or coaches. I know that someone had commented in the chat bar that they were a discount coach for a while before signing up as a coach. That is something super common. I, in fact, was a discount coach before I started working the business. So when you hear that language used, if you haven't heard it yet, understand that a coach is a coach no matter if they're signing up as a discount or if they're signing up to work the business. They still are a coach in your organization and they still get the perks of the coach discount. There's just no obligation to coach. Similarly, right now today, you as a coach don't have any sort of minimum things that you have to meet. So that's often something I hear when somebody who is signing up and they want that discount. That was me, right? I want the discount, but I mean, I'm not doing this business thing. I'm not going to share on social media. I'm not going to post anything. Like, I just want the discount. You truly can be a coach just for the discount. So we want to think about who those first 3 coaches and or customers are going to be. For me, it was my husband who just called me, my sister, my mom, my mother-in-law, and my sister-in-law. Those were the few people who joined me in my first couple weeks as a coach. not because they needed to, but because I straight up called them and said, this is what I'm doing. I'm starting this business. And I said, will you support me? I explained to them how the products were helping me, what I wanted to do, and they jumped on board. And of those first 5 people, 4 of them are still coaches with me today. So you'll never know who is going to stick with it. It just comes from you being confident in what we have to offer and sharing it with them. Your best friends, your siblings, those are typically who I see people signing up as their first couple coaches or customers. We're going to talk about Emerald City. Emerald, you'll hear different things about ranks. And if you've been following maybe your coach for a while, maybe you've seen them recognized at some point in time for rank advancing to Emerald or hitting Success Club, hitting Success Starters, or rank advancing to Diamond. All these things, they're all in line with building your business, building the foundation, building the team, building the depth within your own organization. The very first step towards building your business is as easy as getting to Emerald, which is, again, your first 2 people. So like I said, when I first signed up, it was a no-brainer. I called my sister. She was actually deployed at the time. She's in the Navy. And I was like, I know that you said the food was on the ships was just plain awful. I started this thing. I really think you would benefit from Shakeology. Will you be my first customer? And because she's military, if you weren't aware, any active duty military or spouses of active duty or veterans and spouses of a veteran can actually be a coach for free. So they don't have that monthly fee that we all pay. They get that waived through our military service program. So my sister was the first person who I asked, who not only was she going to be one of my first 3 customers, she was also going to be one of my first coaches that got me towards that Emerald rank. Like I said, Emerald is your first 2 coaches. So it came from signing her up. And then I want to say my mother-in-law or my mom, one of those 2 were next when I first signed up. And that was Emerald. Now, you don't have to think of people who are your first couple coaches that are people who want to come in and build the business just like you're doing today. They can truly be people who just want the discount. They can truly be people who just want to support you. That's how it started with my mother-in-law. It was, she's my mother-in-law. She was like, absolutely, I'll support you. And literally 6.5 years, the woman has been drinking Shakeology. Not because she needs me or I need her to be an Emerald rank, but because she loves it. So
Elliot could be banned from the
okay,
Can you keep reading your
absolutely not.
Oh, please, please.
Hold on 1 second.
Please.
No, guys, I am on it. We need to stop. I trusted you.
Elliot won't stop attacking us.
Okay.
Hey, Dragon, hit him.
I'm sorry. I should have known this was going to happen. I'm going to just pivot because that's what the year of 2020 has told me and taught me is to pivot and just keep on going forward. All right. So that's Emerald. First 2 people, generally people you know. It could also be from your posts you're sharing on social media. Those can also be your first 2 people. You're going to also hear Success Starters. There's so many things that go tied in with Success Starters. A few things that kind of hits on different points. Hitting Success Club, which again is your first 3 people. 2 people or 2 points. You get 2 Success Club points for each person who enrolls with a challenge pack or a completion pack. So let's say your mom signs up with a NBF challenge pack, and then you sign your best friend up with a bar challenge pack. And then your husband is like, I'm just going to support you. I don't want anything to do with this business, but you go, girl. And you sign your husband up with a 3-day refresh challenge pack so that you can do a 3-day refresh after Thanksgiving and, show people what our 3-day refresh detox is like. And those 3 challenge packs would get you to Success Club in your first month. So challenge packs or a completion pack. Let's say your best friend is already had Beachbody On Demand and now you're a coach and she's like, sure, I will sign up with you. A person who already has Beachbody On Demand would buy what we call a completion pack. They're a little bit cheaper than the challenge packs because it's for somebody who already has their BOD membership. 1, 2, 3 people, 2 points for each of those people. That will hit Success Club in your first month. That'll also have you eligible for Success Starters. So there's Success Starters for months 1, 2, and 3. The biggest thing that I took away from Success Starters when I had started was it gave me my free summit ticket. Now I know that traveling and trips of 2020 have been a little bit non-existent, but under the best circumstances, we will have a summit next year in 2021 in St. Louis, and it hands down was the event that changed the course of my business. So I signed up in March, I hit Success Club my first 3 months, and I earned this ticket to Summit. At the time, I didn't really know a whole lot about the business yet. I was still kind of figuring things out. I was watching people, but in my mind, I had this ticket that was like a coupon that was free, and I didn't want to waste it. So a Summit ticket, they run different promotions at different times of the year. It's anywhere from $200 to $300 for your Summit ticket. But by hitting that Success Starter program all 3 months, hitting Success Club your first 3 of your 6 months as a coach, you earn that Summit ticket for free. So that was a big push for me to keep hitting Success Club in my first month so that I could earn that Summit ticket. And once I had it, I was like, well, I have to use it. Going to Summit and hearing the stories, meeting the team in person, the people who you're virtually talking to on squares every day and actually getting to like hug them was a huge turning point for me and just my belief and my understanding of how this whole business works. And that's something that goes along with Success Starters as well. You also get an opportunity to be a part of a test group. So if you've ever seen those before and after pictures that come out of a program before anybody else has done them, so like right now you'll see that 9-week Control Freak that launches next month, people are already starting to share the before and afters. The reason there are people who have before and afters already is because anyone who qualifies for the Success Starters program, all 3 of those months, they get a spot in a test group. So it's always, anywhere from like 3 to 6 months before anybody else even knows what the program is going to be. So it's like you get a part of this like super secret group, and you get to be working with the trainer or whoever is developing that program. And it is honestly just an incredible opportunity. I wish that was something that was given to Success Starters back when I started, because I feel like it would have been such a great way to really just do something different with the company, but it is now. So any of you, and I know someone, whoever, I forget who it was, but said that they were a discount coach first. Even if you were a discount coach first, it is 3 of your first 6 months. So if you've been a discount coach for a couple months and you're still within that first 6-month window, you still have the opportunity to earn that. And then of course, every time you're signing somebody up with a challenge pack, you're earning anywhere from $40, $50, $60, $70 on that challenge pack. So you keep hearing, first three. So 3 people hit Success Club, get you to that month 1 Success Starters, but it also helps you earn back your initial investment. So if you signed up with an MBF challenge pack, you probably paid $160. Or if you signed up with the MBF challenge pack that included Shakeology and Performance Line, you would have spent about $200. If you signed up 3 people with the same challenge pack that you purchased, you would essentially break even. So the other part of that is it's going to cover the cost of your investment. So there you are, you're sitting on this business opportunity. And at that point, helping your first 3 people, you have broke even on your first investment in the business. So those are all kind of focused on the same thing of helping 3, getting your first 3 people, whether they're customers or coaches, signed up towards hitting Success Club in your first month. Now, how are we going to do that? So besides just reaching out to those who are closest to you, those friends, those family members, we're going to start with the business activity tracker. Does everybody know what the business activity tracker is? My husband is my first coach and a veteran. Oh, so real quick on that, Teresa. So it's okay that he is, that you've already signed him up. So if you go into the back office, so like team, like your coach online office, there is there's a form, and actually when we're at the end of the call, because I just sent it to one of my coaches the other day because her mom was a veteran and I was telling her the same thing. So it's there's a military fee waiver that they'll have to submit the DD-214 for that. And then if they can also, if they paid the $40 coach sign up fee, you can get that $40 coach sign up fee back. So I will, I'll drop that link here at the end once we're through this. So I know I have it in my messenger. So yeah, so that's the cool thing with the veterans. And honestly, sometimes every now and then I'll post in my challenge group like, hey, just a quick check. Are there any veterans or spouses of veterans in our group? Because I don't always ask people, and I don't always know somebody 10 years ago might have done 4 years in the military, or somebody's spouse, did 4 years. Maybe it's not something a huge part of their life now, but that $15 a month, adds up over time. So it's a great way to just, it's Veterans Day, obviously, so maybe I'll post it in my group today, but a way to just honor those and thank those who have served the country. But it is U.S. military only. So if somebody's in the Canadian military, the discount doesn't apply there. All right, so it seems like you guys are pretty well aware of the business activity tracker. So like I said, you're gonna hear people reference this on all sorts of calls. So our national wake up calls are every Monday at 11. People will be like, what's your secret? Honestly, it usually relates somehow, some way, shape, and form to this, because this gives you what you're doing. So if you see somebody crushing the business and you wonder, what are they doing? They're doing these activities. Maybe they're doing them 10 times more than somebody else, but the activities, the actions all lie within what you see here. So the very first ones, to me, those are given. Those shouldn't really count as your work, like tasks in a day. Those aren't really part of the work day. That's just part of you being proof that the products work. Because the best way for you to share this opportunity, for you to sell somebody on Beachbody On Demand or on the products, is to straight up prove that they work, that Shakeology works because it's helped you do X, Y, and Z, that the workouts help because they helped you get in shape for your wedding, lose baby weight, whatever it is, whatever your story is, becomes what you talk about. The only way you can build on that story is if you continue to exercise regularly and use the products and programs. So this is kind of a given. Hopefully you guys can check those boxes off pretty easily. This section 2 is really the bulk of what we're doing each day in terms of building the connections. So if you've ever had an inbox, a message pop up in your inbox that's like, hey, you want to come join me? And you're like, who is this? Or they're like, hey, I just started selling shampoo. I think you'd love it. Do you want to try it? And you're like, I don't even know who this person is. Or I just got one the other day like, hey, long time no talk. I'm hosting an Usborne book party. Thought you would be interested in it. And like just those messages, when you haven't actually spoken to someone, it's like they come off salesy, right? And the last thing we want you to do is to be selling where someone's looking at you and is like, oh, here's one of those Beachbody coaches trying to sell me on their shakes and workouts. You want to inspire people to be a part of what you have to share. You want to give them tips and motivation, and you want them to want to be a part of this community without you trying to just cold message somebody and be like, hey, come join me and come do this. So how we do that is by building our presence and our communication and our interaction through social media. Now, this does take time, and this isn't like a overnight, I'm just going to have all these people jumping in my inbox wanting to join me, which is why I started at the beginning with those first couple people who join you in month 1 might be your mom, your sister, your cousin, your best friend, people who you already know, love, and trust you, to where asking those people to join you is easier than trying to go to some, random person on social media you haven't talked to in a while and being like, you should totally join my boot camp. So how we do that, this part here has the biggest one of the biggest allotments of time. Now this is based on an hour and 40 minutes. So let's just say you don't have that much time. I actually don't spend an hour and 40 minutes a day on this part of it. I would say I'm more on like the 45 minutes, maybe an hour, where I'm going through each of these items. So if that's your case, maybe if you have the hour and 40 minutes, great. And if you don't, maybe cut these all in half. To allow for enough time to do each of the activities, because they are all important. The first one's initiating connections and adding followers. So the last thing you want is to end up like, oh my gosh, I've invited everybody on my friends list, or I've invited everybody who's interacting on my posts. If you're always adding more people, then you'll never run out of new people to talk to. So initiating your connections, I like to do it through stories, because I feel like more people post on stories than actually post on their feed. A lot of people, it's easier to post a quick thing on your story. It disappears in 24 hours than it is to actually post something on your feed that sticks there forever. So I usually go to stories, and you can do this 2 ways. One, you can initiate connections with the people who you're already following. You can see their stories at the top of the page, tap through them, and when there's something you can connect with, send them a message. Like I saw one, this is actually, she's my coach, but she had posted a picture of her puppy and it was on this blanket. And I was like, oh my gosh, it looks like the softest blanket ever. And here it's an actual Sherpa dog bed. I was like, well, geez, your dog's living its best life. So that's just a simple connection. Now, this isn't someone who I'm trying to build a relationship with. I have a relationship with her, but that's as simple as they have to be. This isn't about overcomplicating it and overthinking it. It's literally just connecting with human beings. The whole point of social media is to then be social. It's not here for you to post your thing and have people come join you and then never kind of reciprocate that, that interaction with other people. So I like to go through stories. Sometimes I'll go to There's a company called Saturday Morning Pancakes. It's a t-shirt company. They have like rap sayings that they turned into like holiday slogans. It's really funny. I love like 90s rap music. So I laugh at them. They make me laugh. So if somebody's following Saturday Morning Pancakes and they're interacting on that page, chances are somebody who I might get along with. We might have something in common because we both like the same things. So sometimes I'll go to Saturday Morning Pancakes and I'll look who else is following them. And if you click on somebody, you know, you click on somebody on Instagram, you can click on their followers, and then you can see who has that red ring around them. So if I'm looking for new people to initiate conversations with, I might go to somebody like a different, like a big page, so to speak, a company that I like, see who else follows them the same way I do, and then try to interact on those pages and look at who's using stories. I forgot how rough 3-year-olds were. You can stop it. Anyways, so that is one of the ways I'll initiate connections. Now, if I'm looking at people who are following Saturday Morning Pancakes, I'm not necessarily following them. So I might first initiate connections. And if there's somebody who I like really jive with, I'm like, oh my gosh, this looks like my person, then I'm going to follow them. And the idea of following somebody is then that they follow you back. I'm not following them, following back and being like, hey, thanks for following me. Do you want to join my boot camp? This whole activity is straight up initiate connections and add new followers. You can do it through a number of things. You can do by food you like, TV shows you like, destinations you like to go to. There's so many different ways that you can, you know, search through Instagram. And we also have other like team calls if you want like more in-depth detail on that actually spend an hour going through that. Obviously the next piece, this is where your consistency and your daily posting comes from. You don't have to post a lot, but you must post consistently. I typically post 1 time a day. I post probably like 6 days a week. So, or 6 times in a week. So there might be one day throughout the week that I didn't for whatever reason, whether it was that I didn't have something creative to say, so I just didn't say anything. Maybe a post from the day before was still doing really well, so I didn't want the two to compete with each other. So I just kind of let one ride for another day. Whatever it may be, 6, sometimes 7 times, but literally no more than once a day. So don't feel like you have to have all this stuff coming up all the time and constantly posting, because your posts should be very purposeful. They should have a theme to them. You know, they should have, you know, whether it's a combination of, there's a book called Jab, Jab, Right Hook, Gary Vaynerchuk. It's old, but it's based on the whole idea that you're going to be giving out tips, information, you're sharing things about you before you then ask for somebody to then come join you. So maybe if it's you're getting ready for a challenge group, maybe first you're sharing some, you know, holiday, you know, meal prep ideas, or, you know, the 5 things you do every single holiday. Maybe it's like you start with, you know, as Thanksgiving's coming up or something. And then maybe you give somebody a recipe. And then maybe you share a non-scale win that you had, or maybe your transformation of what you've had so far. And then you come out with the right hook that you're opening enrollment for your holiday survival group, and you know, looking for those first 5 people to commit. You don't want to say every single day, come join me, come join me, come join me, come join me, because then people are going to be like, oh my gosh, all this girl wants to do is want you to join her. You want to give things, give the recipe, give the tips, give the ideas, give some inspiration before you then ask for something. So this aspect here, again, 1 post a day, doesn't have to be a lot. I often put the exact same thing on Instagram as I do on Facebook. Now, today I posted a reel. It's obviously Veterans Day, so I had like my post on Facebook was a thank you to my brother and sister because they both served in the military. And then I put an Instagram reel up. So in today's instance, if you looked at my social media, there'd be a different thing on Facebook than there is on my Instagram page. But generally speaking, I put the same thing on both. Especially when you're just getting started out and you're learning your audience, like you will find out that there's people who follow you on Facebook that don't follow you on Instagram. And you follow people on Instagram that you're not friends with on Facebook. So it's different people. So don't feel like you have to always create something different for the 2 audiences. Generally speaking, the same post can go up on either one. Instagram stories, Facebook stories. This to me is the most fun part of the day. I love stories. I feel like there's like a no pressure, anything goes. You can share anything. And unlike my posts, where I'm trying to limit a call to action to maybe like 2 a week, where I'm actually saying comment below or whatever it is. I put a call to action in my stories almost every day, because again, they disappear after 24 hours. And just because somebody watches your story today doesn't mean they're going to watch it tomorrow. So other people aren't necessarily seeing it every day. But if they are seeing it every day, then you have to realize it takes people sometimes 7 to 10 times of seeing the same thing over and over again before they actually say yes. And I don't know about you guys, but I watched my coach for almost a year on social media sharing before I ever joined her. So I remind myself of that when I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm saying the same thing, or I keep repeating myself. that I had to see my coach post consistently for a year about all the amazingness of her peanut butter chocolate shake and these amazing home workouts and all the energy she felt before I actually joined her. So keep that in mind as you're sharing and you're posting, that call to actions are important, and the consistency in you showing up every day will hands down be the one thing that sets you apart from other people. If I could pick one thing that has led to my success from day one, it's because I've never stopped or looked back. To this day, I might have, like I said, I post typically 6 or 7 times a day or a week, but that's because I use my stories every day. I show up no matter what. I show up on holidays. I show up. Now, granted, they're not showing up on holidays and saying, come join my team. It might be a family tradition I love or a picture of my kids. Like, they're not always, but I show up consistently. And because I show up consistently, I get people who 6 weeks or 6 months or 6 years after the fact are coming back now saying, okay, I'm ready. But they know that because I've been consistent all along, that when they're ready, I'm here. And that's kind of how I leave conversations with people when I am talking to them and maybe they're interested or I've invited them and they're not ready right now. I always end it with, well, you know, I'm not going anywhere. And they truly do know I'm not going anywhere because I've proved that through my social media presence. So it doesn't happen unless you start it, right? So starting now, being consistent, no matter what, showing up. A lot of times I use little white quotes. Like if you looked at my Instagram, you'll see I'll have like little white quotes places. Those are the days that maybe I didn't have something creative to say. Maybe, you know, I wasn't looking to necessarily like bring in new people for new clients. I'm just looking to connect with people. So maybe it's something that like the way I feel, way something with homeschooling kids is going right now, or, you know, something that made me laugh that I think might make other people laugh. I love using little quotes. So that's just something else that you can use that still isn't necessarily about building your business, but allows you to initiate those connections and add followers. So it's kind of like that variety. And if it seems like it's overwhelming right now, like take the deep breath, realize that you'll do, like, fail forward. Just do it and you'll figure it out. If you do a post and it totally flops, be like, well, note to self, that didn't work. Why didn't it work? Did you post it at midnight? Well, nobody's on right now. Did you post it at 4 a.m. before you went to work? Because that's your schedule, but nobody else is awake right now. Like, reflect on those things, but don't give up on it. I always say, like, rinse, wash, repeat. And then if it doesn't work, fix it. And then rinse, wash, repeat. Like, I'm constantly reviving things. So keep that in mind through your posts and what you're sharing on your stories, and just use your stories as a way to share you as a person. Obviously, there's a bunch of us on the call right now, and there's tons more of coaches out there in the network. What's going to make you different from anybody else is what you're sharing. You know people I don't know. You can relate and connect with people that I'll never come in contact with, which is why we can all coexist in this network together, because we all have a different story. We have a different niche. We have a different market. And it happens when we're all sharing these products that we love consistently. And then each piece of that story that makes you uniquely you is that thing that's going to relate somebody else to want to be a part of what you're sharing. So sharing your daily life is just as important as, you know, your workout clips. At one point I had done a poll on my team page being like, what was it that attracted you to what I was sharing? And most people said that I could see what you were doing and I could see myself doing it too. Most of my coaches come in as a challenger first, and probably because that's how I started out myself. But they liked that they could see the workout clips, that it didn't seem so intimidating and be like, do this home muscle burning fat program, when they could physically see me doing the moves every day and then see themselves in my shoes. Don't be afraid to take a video. Maybe it's awful the first time. Okay, well, figure out where your lighting is best. Figure out, you know, what angle is best. Do you need to get a tripod? Do you need to stack up a couple books against a lamp and against something else and create a little tripod for yourself? Learning how to share those things will be so helpful. And if you have questions, just ask. I can tell you that that is probably the biggest thing that I let my coaches know, that if a question is running through your head, chances are somebody else has it too. And chances are that as a new coach, I had it too. And the only way you're going to figure out is if you ask. So don't spin your wheels, ask the questions that you have, but understand that all the things you see your coach doing that might seem so easy, it's only easy because they consistently have done it over time. So, you know, these daily life things, your workout clips, you know, product use, the last thing you want is to be like, here's my Shakeology. Like, talk about it in a different way. How can you share it in a different cup? How can you talk about what it's done for you? I should try to share my shake, you know, several times a week through my stories, but I rarely say, you know, vanilla Shakeology, yum. It's always like, breakfast on the go or snack on the go, or, early morning hockey practice means I've only got time for this, or whatever it is. I use it in that way to show people, yes, I'm using it. So when I tell you that what's required in my boot camp is X, Y, and Z, they see that I'm doing it too. But it promotes questions and conversations that you're talking to people, and they're not just seeing what you're doing and then going to Google and buying it on their own. Sharing meal prep, as you cook a meal, like this morning, because my mom was running the marathon, I made some Shakeology no-bake cookies. So I made them, I took a quick picture when I was done and was like, put it on my Instagram stories, like whipped up a batch of black and white no-bake cookies before my mom's marathon so I could give her something healthy for the go. And I didn't say they were Shakeology cookies, but that's what's in them. So when someone says, oh my gosh, those look great, what is it? I get to tell them what it is, and hopefully they'll want to learn more. Also, you'll see, like I said, call to actions. You can use the poll on Instagram. Now, when you use a poll, if you're saying, opening next enrollment into my boot camp, are you interested? Don't just put yes or no. I'll do like yes or heck yes. I'll do an absolutely, or I am more, I have more questions, or curious, something like that, to promote more people to, if they're interested, whichever one they hit allows you to have that conversation with them. And then recognition and shout out. And this is one that I've done more so in the last couple months than I did earlier in my career, but I love to be able to shout out the messages people are saying. So when someone says to you like, oh my gosh, I have worked out 5 days in a row, thank you. That might seem so little, but to somebody, if you I screenshot everything and I'll put it on my stories. To someone else who's like, that would be like a small feat, right? Like 5 whole days in a row. I share those things and be like, love being able to celebrate these wins with my customers. And it just allows other people to see it and they understand that it's not just you talking about this group, that other people are joining it too. Now, if you don't have any customers of your own yet, I hope that you're plugged into a group with your upline coach where maybe this isn't your personal customer that's having successes, but maybe somebody else in the group that's sharing, a pair of jeans that they're wearing for the first time, or they're sharing, getting up at 5 a.m. for a week straight, whatever it is. When those things are in your group, chances are they're probably okay with you sharing it too. So you can always ask them first, but those, like, building that community and understanding that what you're talking about and inviting people into, other people are already doing it and having success with, helps the people who are watching your stuff be like, okay, like she did it and she did it okay. And like they kind of, it's like that head nod along before they get to the point where it's like, enough is enough, I'm going to join her too. So those are kind of some examples for your Instagram stories. And then going down to this next one here, responding to likes, comments, and views. And this just goes along with the whole idea of being, having social media as being social. You don't want to just post and then walk away. You want to be able to interact with people. So, whether it is, it's obviously, I'm going to tell you from the get-go, you will get way more interaction on your posts that have nothing to do with Beachbody. If you're asking for like your favorite children's book, or you're asking if people put up their Christmas tree before or after Thanksgiving, like when you're asking for people's opinions on things, they love to share. But when they share, it allows you to see who's watching your stuff that won't comment on the bootcamp post yet, but they're still watching what you're doing. So that's why that's so helpful to post other things besides just the business things, because it helps you see who's following along and who else it kind of gives you like that inside look of, okay, well, this person's following me and interacting here. They're probably watching the other stuff. So just kind of like figuring out when you can invite them to join you. So responding to your likes, comments are easy, right? Like somebody comments, comment back to them. You don't want to ever just leave a comment sitting there. Even if it's just as simple as a thank you. I had actually had a little surgery last Wednesday, a week ago. And I had posted about it. And I mean, I got like countless comments, wishing you well and sending our prayers and all these things, but I responded to every single one because they took the time to leave the comment. I'm going to take the time to respond back to it. So even if it's a simple thank you, take the time to acknowledge people who are commenting. And then when they're liking on your stuff, I always, I'll go through the people who are liking my stuff and let them know, like, hey, thanks so much for the love of my post. I appreciated, seeing your name pop up in my notifications. And then you can kind of gear the rest of that statement depending on, what was the post about? Was it about a transformation? Was it a call to action? Was it just, mine was a pilodonial cyst that I had a surgery on last week. So I'm like, oh my gosh, have you ever even heard of that? Like, it was so new to me, and it was the worst thing. Like, something that you can just have a conversation with them. And just that interaction part is big. And then the views, this goes to your stories. So if you're taking the time to put all these things on your stories, now how do you capitalize on this and then connect with people through it? Is who's viewing your stories. And I always say, thanks so much for following along in the stories. Like today I might share something like, oh my gosh, having 4 kids at home was like, is this what people who have like 4 kids within what are they, 8 years, 6 years apart? Like I couldn't imagine if all 4 of these were mine on a daily basis. It's been a crazy day here today. Are you following along because you're interested in what I'm doing? Or are you just following along with, for the hot mess mom life? Just a way to connect with them. And I have some other examples here as we go through things, but that's what this responding is. And then the invite part comes. So this is where you're straight up like, okay, now you've been going along each day. You're initiating connections. You're adding followers. You're doing your posts. You're doing your stories. You're responding to likes. Now is the inviting part. Now, if somebody responds to a poll, it's an easy to invite them, right? So if you said, opening 5 spots for my next boot camp, if you're interested, let me know. And they respond to that poll. Saw your response on my poll. Super excited to start this next group. What's your email? And I'll send you more information. Now, sometimes they'll be like, poll, what poll? I didn't respond to a poll. I must have been tapping through stories, but it still allows you to connect with them. Other times they're like, they'll just drop their email. So I always try to use that. That's an easy way to invite. Like if you respond to an actual poll, they respond to a call to action. The other one would be maybe you put something up in your stories or you have a post about your next boot camp and someone just liked it. And you go and you click on their name and you're like, okay, well, she's been liking my stuff because I've been sending her messages and saying thank you. And we've been interacting. And then that's when you can say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I didn't think of this sooner. Thanks for the love on that post. I talked about my next boot camp with open enrollment. Would you be interested in joining us? Or are you interested in learning more information? So the inviting part kind of comes along, depending on what your posts are and what people are interacting on or what you're putting in your stories. But if you put a call to action in your stories every day you have an opportunity to see who's watching your stories and then who can you invite from there. And then how this keeps growing all goes back to this first part here. As long as you're continuing to add new followers and new connections, then the eyes on your stories, the people who are liking and commenting on your posts, those numbers and those interactions will forever, keep growing as well. Does that all make sense? Okay. And then this part here, getting people results, this comes to like your actual challenge group. Now, again, in the beginning, my time spent here was 0 because I didn't have a group yet. And, in those first couple weeks, I had a couple people who bought from me, but they weren't exactly challengers. They were people who were like buying Shakeology to support me or buying a challenge pack to support me. So I didn't exactly have like a big contribution to my challenge group. So in that instance, I would just go back and spend more time on these things. But then once, now that I have a group, an established group that is active every day, contributing to your challenge group, just forever being the best challenger. If people are joining you, they're then going to see what you're doing. So when you're in that challenge group every day, even if it's not your group, let's say you're in there with your upline. If your upline maybe already took care of creating the group and all the content that's in there, you participating and showing up and commenting on like the daily posts that are in there, the daily check-ins or whatever it is, your people who then you add into that group will follow your lead. Similarly, when it's your group and you create the group, and then you're just kind of setting that bar and setting that level of what they're going to see, and they're going to follow your lead. So you always want to continue to be the best challenger. I check into my group as a challenger every day. I rate my day. I share my day. I share a picture of my food or something throughout the day. And to me, that just allows people to see that I'm in it with them, that I'm not above them in any way, that I'm still working on myself the same way that I want them to show up and work on themselves too. Recognizing achievement, talk about that a little bit with your stories. When people have these wins, celebrate them. If somebody tells you, sends you a sweet message and tells you how much weight they've lost or inches they've lost, let them know, like, that's awesome, but go post that in our boot camp. Celebrate that. Like, you should be proud. And sometimes they will, and sometimes they'll let you do it. I had a girl who, it was like a year's worth of results, phenomenal results. And she sent them to me and I said, can I put these on my IG story? She's like, absolutely. So I posted them. And then she reshared them to her stories when I tagged her. And she sent me a message later. And she's like, I just have to tell you, thank you for posting. I never would have had the courage to post it myself. But when I reshared it to my page, the love that I got from other people was overwhelming. She goes, and it's all because you shared it first. So, I know some people are like, well, I'm sure they wouldn't want me to send it. Well, how do you know? Most people, they're working hard, right? Like, you've worked hard to get to the place that you are. Your people are going to work hard to get to their results. So if you can recognize them, everybody loves a little bit of recognition. Shout them out, because that goes a long way. And then just, making sure you're responding to questions from your customers and coaches as well. And then the last piece of the bat is the personal development. So your coach may have already recommended a book to you. I usually start with either The Compound Effect or The Slight Edge for my coaches. Two really great books. I don't know if Darren Hardy's Compound Effect ever made it to Audible. Most books that I read are on Audible, just because I have a hard time sitting down and reading physical books. A couple books I think are better when you can flip them. But for the most part, I listen to everything. I pop an earbud in when I'm folding laundry, doing pickup, driving somewhere, whatever it may be. That's how I do most of my personal development. If you haven't started a book, Compound Effect and Slight Edge are usually the first two that I recommend. If you've read those two and you're looking for more, reach out to your coach. They might be able to give you something a little bit more specific on, your current, where you are in your journey or your business or whatever that may be. But the personal development is last on the business activity tracker, but just as important as everything else, because this is a business and you are going to be told no, and you are going to have hard days and you're going to have really great days. And I can tell you that being able to pour into personal development not only has helped my business and helped me establish, a solid foundation for my business, but it's also helped me just establish a solid foundation for just life, and my mindset in general, and what I teach my kids. Like, it goes into so many different areas. So this part is, key, not just from a professional level, but just a personal level as well. So that'll make sense. I see two things. Let me just see if there's anything else in the chat. Okay. So talking about the post a little bit, your post, like, you don't have, rewind. When you're thinking about your post and what you're going to share, for the most part, your story is going to be a foundation of that some way. So just like I shared earlier, people I don't. And what's going to make somebody sign up with you versus somebody else, or going on Amazon and purchasing some product or one of the programs, is because they're going to relate and connect to you and your story. That's why we're different from buying a thing at a store or buying, product itself. It's the coach that they get along with that helps people actually carry things through to get results, to have success, to make it a lifestyle long term. So when you think about your story, you can take some time and think out, why did you become a coach? What was it? Was it because you had really great physical results? Was it because your coach shared something transformational that they had financially, physically, mentally, something along the lines, and you were like, whatever she has, I want a piece of that? Was it because you wanted the discount? Was it because you're a veteran and you knew that you could be a coach for free? Like, what was it that went through your mind? Because every single person on this call at some point hit submit, I'm going to be a coach. So what was it? And it might just be, you might have one or two things to start. I know when I can kind of give you an example of mine. When I started, the biggest thing was the discount. At the time, that we had literally $0 left over at the end of any given month to spend on myself. So I loved the idea of saving the money. Now, like I said, I had no money. So the only way I bought this was I put it on a credit card. And then I was like, okay. So I found out, first, I bought the first month and I canceled the HD. I don't know if anyone else has ever done that. So bought the challenge pack, canceled HD, because I was like, never buying that. It's way too overpriced. And then I loved it. I loved it because I had been suffering from Crohn's disease for 7 years. And at the time, I saw in this one short month of doing Shakeology, I was like, I feel like my symptoms are going away. I'm feeling better. I have more energy. I'm a happier mom. Like, I love these programs. I love this challenge group. There were so many things I loved. And I remember having a conversation with my husband, and he's like, well, if you love it that much, just buy it again. I was like, you don't understand how much this stuff costs. Like, this is crazy expensive. He's like, well, just buy it and we'll figure it out. And that's just his approach to most things in life. And I wanted to so bad that my typical type A, I have to have all my ducks in a row. I was just like, okay, I'm going to buy it. So I bought it, and then I'm like, well, crap, now what? Now I bought it, and I'm going to have to pay for it when that credit card bill comes. And I was watching my coach enough to know that she made a business out of this. And she told me that even though I signed up for the discount, if I helped 3 of my friends, I could get my product paid for. And I was like, oh, 3 friends. Okay, fair enough. So like I said, in the beginning, it was my mom, it was my sister. My mom, my sister, my mother-in-law were the first 3. And then I added my husband and my sister-in-law. But what I saw was I signed those 3 people up, and then I got that first paycheck. I'm like, son of a gun, I did it. I covered the cost of my Shakeology. So then I signed up 2 more people, and then I got $100. I'm like, well, now I covered the cost of my Shakeology, and I have $100 left. And to me, that's all it took. It was the light bulb of this has a lot of potential. I am a former accountant and I have a background, I have a CPA license. I was all about finance and accounting and numbers. And I was like, exponentially, I'm figuring this out. There's a whole lot of opportunities sitting here at my fingertips. So I decided at that moment that I would go all in. So I very quickly went from a challenger to a discount coach to let me get my costs of my products paid for to I'm sitting on a gold mine, I'm going to run with this. Some people that might take years. Somebody else might come in from the business to start. But that was how mine got started. I had only 21 days under my belt when I signed up as a coach, but that's all I needed. I had 21 days and 3 pounds lost. Was it a jaw-dropping transformation? Absolutely not, but I was proud of it and I shared it. I shared how excited I was that after, trying to figure out this whole postpartum thing and 2 kids under 2 and all this stuff on my own, I leaned in and got support. And once I got support, I got results. Once I got results, I felt happier. And I have to share this with other people. And I began sharing it. When I see my posts today that I posted 6.5 years ago, I'll tell you they're awful. They are so bad. But it didn't matter because I was excited. I was excited. I was honest. I was, very much, this is what you're going to get. You should come do this. Because I truly believe that there wasn't a person out there that wouldn't benefit in some way, shape, or form. So all the little pieces of me getting started and why I got started and the results that I had and the success I had are the things that I would pull into different posts that I would make. Not every post shared every aspect of what I just shared with you, but different things, whether it was the fact that I was feeling better with the Crohn's disease symptoms. That has nothing to do with weight. That has to do with how I feel. And then I can share that, as a, a mom with 2 under 2, it was like crazy haywire. I never made time to make a meal. Shakeology gave me one healthy meal I didn't have to think about. And all those little things became posts down the road. So I can't figure that out for you, but what I want to encourage you to do, to after the call this evening is take some time to think, why did you sign up as a coach? What were some of the key pieces that got you from, point A to where you are now, and realize that that's going to forever change and it's going to grow as you continue to grow and share and do other programs. But that's the content of your post. The other thing is personal development. One time somebody said to me, I shared a quote. Most of the quotes I get come from the things that I'm reading. And someone's like, oh my gosh, you should write a book. I was like, well, I don't want to write one, but I'll read them. And that's where a lot of the content for things I would share would come from, the things that I was reading. So if you ever think about, what am I going to post about? What am I going to share? Your story is the best thing that you can share because that's what makes you uniquely you. And then things that you're learning and feeling and experiencing, that all kind of goes together, just what you're going to be sharing. And look at it from, how can you add value? It's not about what did I do? It's more about how can I share what I've done to then give hope and inspiration to somebody else. A couple things, like I said, we've talked about, I feel like most of this stuff. 1 post a day, 5 to 10 stories, sharing, adding value. Think about what you're learning, giving more than you ask. That's that whole jab, 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 right hook aspect. Don't be a so what post. So at the end of it, literally ask yourself, so what? What's the point of sharing that? What was your goal, and was your goal achieved and what you had to share? Or can you tweak it in a different way to make sure that you're not just posting to post, but that you have a purpose, whether it's hope, inspiration, motivation, a call to action. And then your IG bio, I hope none of you have Beachbody Coach in your IG bio. Not that the Beachbody Coach is bad. I'm a proud Beachbody Coach, but you're not just a Beachbody Coach. You are a person, whether you're a mom, a wife, a nurse, a teacher, a survivor, whatever you are, put that in your bio. And then allow people to see what you have to share beyond just the fitness and the business to connect with you as a person versus just you as the coach, because you're so much more than that. So it's just something, I use Smart Bio. There's also Linktree. It's like a different, where's the, what is it? www.linktree, I think. I think that's what it is. But it allows you to create one link that has other links on it. So if you looked at my IG bio, there's different links that I have in there for a challenge group, or, I'll put something in there for Control Freak when it's coming out. And it just gives you an opportunity to put other links in there. Or you could, if you have a website, but don't put your shop Team Beachbody link, because you don't want them to just go shop on your page. You want to talk to them. And you can see what I have on mine as well. If you need a couple ideas, sometimes it can be helpful to be like, okay, on Mondays, I'm going to share a quote. On Tuesdays will always be my transformation. On Wednesdays, I'm going to give people a tip. Thursdays, I'm going to share something that coaching has done for me. Fun fact on Friday, Saturday, whatever I'm doing with my family. Like if you need something like this can help keep you on track in the beginning as you're trying to figure out, what to post, what to share, how to be consistent with it. You don't need to do anything like this. I do typically share a transformation on Tuesdays. That's a pretty common thing for me. But other than that, I can't say that I always follow these things. But I think sometimes that in the beginning, it's helpful to be like, okay, well, where do I start? What should I do first? This can kind of just give you a little bit of a guideline as to how to do that. The apps, these are the only apps that I really use with pictures. I use Snapseed. It's an app that has, little, like, you can crop, you can, make it brighter, you can blur the background, you can do different things. Like this picture of me and my husband, this on our anniversary, that was on Snapseed using an overlay. So it's just I use that one. Lightroom allows you to apply a preset. I feel like if you ever scroll through Instagram stories, you see like preset things pop up where it's like tap, tap, and it's like, here's a picture, then here it looks a little bit different. Preset just allows all the pictures to have the same kind of colors and tones to them. So it just makes it more visually appealing. WordSwag, this one was actually like a screenshot, but I don't know if I had one up there. Like this here, that Vanilla Ice quote, I made that in WordSwag. So I just put a white background, whatever text I'm gonna put on in black. So that's a text thing. And then pick, play, post. If I'm gonna like put a collage together, a side by side, that I use collage is pick, play, post. So there's lots more out there. I have no doubt. None of these are new. These are the ones I've been using forever. You might find something else that you love and works better, but these are the ones that I use. And just when you're thinking about your invites, I know we're kind of getting close to 1 o'clock here. I want to talk about the invites. Getting into the habit of consistently inviting 3 people. Understand that your business will not grow unless you invite people to join you. It is awesome when somebody just comes to you and is like, saw your post, I am all in. Like, that was me to my coach. I mean, I just went to her and I was like, okay, I've been watching you forever. I'm overweighting. I'm going to join you. Most people won't do that. Most people are going to watch you and kind of sit back on the sidelines, and they need you to be bold enough to kind of come knocking on their door and be like, do you want to sit with us? It's like, think about like girls in the lunchroom. Like, how many girls are going to walk up to another table of girls and be like, can I come sit with you? Probably not many. But how great does it feel when that person's sitting there and someone says, hey, come sit with us? And like, that's the person that you want to be. You want to be the person that says, hey, come do this with us. Some people are going to straight up ignore you. Some will say no, thank you, but then some will say yes. And when they say yes, you have the opportunity to forever change that person's life. So keep that in mind. I have a Post-it that lives on my desk that says, I'm grateful somebody invited me. She didn't come knocking on my door, but she publicly posted enough with enough open call to action that she invited me to come be a part of what she had to offer. And because of her, changed forever everything about my life. And I have to tell myself that I'm grateful that somebody else stayed consistent day in and day out, that allowed me the opportunity to say, okay, I'm in. And then that's the person I'm going to be, so that somebody else has the opportunity to see what I have to offer as well. So keep in mind, inviting is a part of this process. It doesn't hurt when somebody says no, I promise you. It will not hurt. You have to take the emotional aspect out of it and realize that you're giving people an opportunity. A couple messages just to share here. And when I give the recording to this, I'll be sure to give the link for the slides as well, so you don't have to like screenshot this or write it all down. But just simple invites. Hey, Melissa, I joined a virtual accountability group. We're doing this brand new 21-day program. I'm blown away with every aspect. I'm determined to get these 10 pounds off that managed to creep in during the quarantine craze. Found my coach on Instagram. Her results were amazing. Do you want to come do this with me, with us? I'd love the accountability, and we could keep each other on track through text. Would you be interested in? So this is just like a text you're going to shoot to your best friend, your cousin, whatever it is, to say, this is what I'm doing. Do you want to do it with me? Another one here, I have something to tell you. You know how much I love health and fitness. I decided to join Beachbody as a coach. I believe in the products and programs. I want to take this passion and turn it into a business. I'd love for you to be my first customer and testimonial. Would you be interested in? So this is the person that you're saying, again, you already know this person. You're asking them, hey, would you be interested in being my first one and give me a testimonial? Asking them for a testimonial. Try this program for 30 days. Drink this shake for 30 days. Maybe somebody has an awesome gym routine. Ask them, would you like to try our pre and post workout supplements for 1 month with your current gym routine? Tell me how they help change your fitness, endurance, whatever it is. But asking people and being confident enough in what we have to offer, that these products are top notch, our programs are top notch, and they can help other people. There's a couple quick examples. And then this is the message. I can literally send it if you go and like my picture, and I can't tell that you're already coached, that this is what you're going to get from me. Hey, thank you so much for the love support you gave my recent transformation photo. It used to be so scary putting myself out there, but with the kind response from people like you, knowing it may just help one person start their own transformation journey, so worth it. Have you ever considered hopping in with us? So this is more you're thanking them. They gave you some love on your transformation picture. Again, if you're posting a transformation every week, you get to use this every single week as people who are interacting on your stuff, and just ask them, are you interested? If not, no big deal, but it's your job to put it out there. And then these are just if someone's watching your stories, so they're not necessarily interacting on your post, but they're watching things. Hey, hey, Melissa, thanks for love watching my stories. Putting myself out there isn't always easy, but I'm on a mission to, and what are you on a mission to? Are you growing your team? Are you filling up your first boot camp? Are you looking for your first 3 people to join you? Whatever it is. Are you following me for faith, fitness, wild mom life? Are you interested in learning about more what I do as a coach? So this is just as simple. Again, you're connecting with these people. And then, hey, Melissa, your feed's so inspiring. I think I just blew up your page. Seriously, though, you have such a powerful message going out. I'm looking for other positive influencers to join my team. Have you ever considered becoming a coach? So this would be someone who you're looking at and you're like, girl would crush it. Ask them. I have people who I have been asking to join my team for years. I think one girl's had a share cart for over 2 years. It'll be 3 years here coming up soon. I think I gave it to her in March of 2018. So if the girl doesn't complete her cart yet, she'll have, and I keep resending it because she tells me she's going to do it. Then she doesn't. And that's fine. It's not her. I don't bank on it ever. I won't bank on her joining me until she actually does it. But when she's there, I know that she's still interested because she follows my stories every single day. She comments on my posts. She sends me messages, and someday she will. And I'm just going to keep doing my part to show up. And when she's ready, I know she's going to be there. But she's one of those people who I know would rock it whenever she's actually ready to do it. And then this just goes on with that whole discount coach thing. Hey, let's get you signed up. I have to ask, would you be interested in signing up as a coach? And you can say coach, you can say affiliate, you can say discount coach, whatever it is, getting 2 to 3 friends to join you with you. You could get your challenge pack paid for and save 25% on everything you order after the challenge pack. So this would be something you can send to somebody when they're actually signing up and just plant that seed. Like I said, for me, the idea of getting friends to join me to cover the cost of the challenge pack that I couldn't afford to begin with was everything. I was like, okay, noted. I need 3 people on it. So you just never know what someone else's personal situation is. My coach will tell you she never invited me to become a coach because she didn't really think that I needed it. She'll tell you she never invited me to join her challenge group because visually I wasn't overweight. I was actually about 10 pounds lighter then than I am today. So it's not, she looked at me and kind of wrote me off, right? Doesn't appear like she needs to lose weight. I appeared happy in the way things were. But behind the scenes, we had to float our mortgage check against our electric bill, against my husband's paycheck coming in to make sure we didn't bounce our checking account every single month. So you just never know what somebody else is going through. But as long as you keep showing up and giving them the opportunity, whether it's you going to them and asking them or them watching your post over and over enough again to where they're like, okay, I'm in, you never know which point that is. And then this is just what I was talking about with the whole coffee. People are going to tell you no. I waitressed forever. I used to offer people coffee and dessert when I waitressed, and when they told me no, I never got upset about it. I offered them. Why? Because if they got coffee and dessert, I was going to make more money off of their tip, hopefully. So understand that you're offering somebody an opportunity. Some are going to take it, some are going to leave it. Some are going to take it all, some are going to take nothing. But you're not going to get anything if you don't ask. So understand that you literally hold the opportunity to change somebody's life in your fingertips, but they won't know about it if you don't talk about it. So maybe you're like, well, I have to have all these ducks in a row before I can even publicly post that I started this. Or I have to, have this really pretty, perfectly lit before and after picture to show all my hard work before anybody's going to believe me. Stop that and just post. And they might suck so bad. But just start doing it. Be consistent. Show up. Go through, print out, 52 copies of that business activity tracker so that you can start going through those daily actions every single day. And I can tell you that the consistency of doing that will pay off. But you have to start. That's all I got for you guys. So we are 1 o'clock on the dot. I am going to pull up real quick that I sent it to a girl. The form for the veteran form, the to get your fee, there's the military waiver form, and then to sign up. So let's say, you signed your husband up with a challenge pack and you're like, crap,